have 10 movies on my worst of the year, but let's just jump right into it. This is my number 10 movie, worst movie of the year. And that's me sliding towards the chat going, yeah, I got news for you. I was not impressed with Dungeons and Dragons. This movie, I think, was the victim of being overhyped for me. People were like, man, this movie's so fun. These characters are so great. And I'll tell you, man, I didn't like the characters. I thought a lot of the jokes were lame and telegraphed. And the villain, nonsense. Total waste. And all the jokes in this, I felt like they went over my head, man.
Wow, people love this movie,
I
man.
know, and I don't get
it's
why.
on a lot of people's top 10 list.
That's why I put it in here.
And it's not in my top 10, but to a certain degree, I agree with everything you said.
This is another movie that I think people did not think was that bad, but to me, I was underwhelmed. This is my number 9 worst movie of 2023.
Taste the rainbow, motherfucker!
Yeah, and taste my unimpressed list movie. This is Shazam! Fury of the Gods. What a disaster of a film. I thought that the villains in this were so forced in, and there were so many superhero movies that were just like meh, but this one especially, it really just let me down because I like the first Shazam. You know, it's like a remake of Big. There's interesting characterizations, and I like the whole group of kids. But in this movie, I thought that it was trying to do way too much. The villain was just like, this is supposed to be Black Adam, and you guys did a rewrite and held it together with duct tape, and it just did not work for me. That is my number 9 movie, worst movie of the year, Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Moving right along to my number 8 movie. All right, I'm going to turn the page because that clip is even more boring than I remember it being. My God, that was The Nun 2. Something that I don't understand how that's how we got, how we got here. You know, there's a sequel to The Nun, a spin-off of The Conjuring, is it?
Yeah.
And this movie just annoyed the crap out of me, where I was just like, man, someone worked really hard making these costumes, building these sets, but even here, like, you can just see how corny it is. And I brought this scene up because in the review that me and Corey did, you can see that, like, this scene, the lighting just shifts. I'm going to show you the beginning of the clip right here. You see this lighting over here? Everything was orange, and then she runs down this hallway, and it's like it's all blue.
Yeah.
It's like, man, this is stupid. I like horror movies, and this is just stupid. Bad. I'm trying to find better words than stupid and bad, but it's very uninspired and dull to me.
Well, I can't speak to this because I didn't see this one.
You're better off.
But everything you're saying is how I felt about the first one. And somebody came out and said, how many scares are in it? None.
My number 7 movie.
Whoa. That was a lot.
I am Dracula.
And this is Renfield, a movie that I heard very mixed things about it going in. And the reason, again, I included this clip was because at the start I was like, dude, this is going to be awesome.
I know. The first third of it is so good. It's everything it promised in the trailers. And you're like, oh, man, I'm going to kick back and just enjoy
I know,
this.
because I'm sure you're like me, you grew up watching that classic Dracula movie. And I was like, oh, Nicolas Cage playing Dracula, like that Dracula, that's awesome. And then it's not. It's really not. It becomes this really emphasis on the word lame movie about like a cop drama and all this other shit.
Yeah, with the New Orleans mafia and
oh gosh, such an uninspired take on Dracula, I thought. And I didn't think that the people who worked on this movie really did their job or cared. You know, there was a lot of scenes where there was like blood everywhere, and like you'd see someone like slam someone down, and like there would be blood that would splash out, and then it would cut to them and be like, not a drop on me.
yeah, it felt like the movie got hijacked. Like somebody had a very clear idea of what they wanted to make, and somewhere in the process, somebody else say like, yeah, but that's not going to sell to the kids, and I got this other script, and if we could just fold this into that, and make it this thing, a gory comedy.
But now, moving on to my next movie. This is my number 6 worst movie of the year.
What do they want?
They want to make her like them.
Happy?
And they want to bore me, the audience. This is a movie that I fight with myself internally because it's like, I want to love this. I really do. I know
Yeah.
that sounds weird.
It does sound weird.
But it's just, it has all the makings of things that I like, you know?
Yeah.
Like, people in the chat have been pointing out recently, like, when I was talking about Guardians 3, they're like, CGI raccoon. We know Julien loves his CGI animals.
Do you?
Monkey bone.
Oh. Okay.
But this movie, to me, it was a mess. It was something that, on paper, you could make a kick-ass horror movie with this, and it could be scary.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think it's going to get worse before it gets better, because let me tell you, I'm predicting we're not going to get one sequel out of this. I think we're going to get 2, maybe 3 of them, because it's just so marketable for them to be like Five Nights at Freddy's 3 in theaters, because that relates to the game. But this is my number 5 worst movie of
Incredible
2023.
story.
Or not to talk to or hang out with him.
All I want to do is hang out with him.
And all I want to do is not watch this movie again. I'm not the biggest Bert Kreischer fan.
I'd
but
never heard of him before this movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess I was like in the stand-up circuit, so you see the people who are, like, who have kind of made it, so to speak, or who are regulars at the Comedy Store and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And honestly, I saw the trailer. I was like, all right, he's finally getting his shot. It's based on his story, and it's not funny. It is just a huge miss.
I don't know what the deal was, but for almost 2 months, maybe even 3, it was all over Reddit. Mm-hmm. And all these things that look like genuine posts, but I was like, wait, this feels like it's just a commercial for this movie. People just talking about it. I finally saw it on the plane on my way to London.
Okay.
And for a movie you watch on the plane when you're half asleep, I was like, well, it's not as painful as I thought it would be. But at the same time, if anybody hates it, you ain't getting no pushback from me.
The reason I put it on my list is because I respect Bert Kreischer, him and Tom Segura and the podcast that they do. But this, dude, I feel like you owe me an apology. And your friend Tom Segura, he should be honest with you and tell you that this is junk. Because Tom Segura is out there talking about movies sometimes. And he showed up to the premiere of this, to support his buddy. And he's like, good job, my ass. This is my number 4 worst movie of 2023.
I'll stay with you forever. Take me instead.
And that's the only line that Winnie the Pooh says in Blood and Honey. You left. Yeah, you left me going, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, this is on a lot of list of worst movies of the year.
God, it really annoyed me because I thought on paper, I was like, this is going to be one of those cheap movies where they do something. You'll all see, okay? They're going to take this property. They're going to be somebody, okay, Martin? And they're not. It's just a lazy horror movie that has nothing original to do. They don't even get Winnie the Pooh going, I'll find you and I'll hide your body too because I'm going to eat it. They don't do anything like that.
Yeah.
Something that could have been hilarious. And that right there, the reason I played that clip is because you're welcome. That's all you need to see, because everyone will want to know, well, does Winnie the Pooh say anything? And he doesn't even say, oh, bother. We don't even get anything like that. It's just, you left. Moving right along, this one is my number 3 movie. And I know you and Corey did a review of this, and you're like, it's not good, but it's not as bad as people say. Say you.
Inform me when they arrive. Yes, sir. Hey.
Inform me of when Zack Snyder will be done doing this bullshit. I'm so mad at myself that I used to be like, no, like, come on, like, Sucker Punch, it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be so sick. Okay, Batman versus Superman, the movie that we saw in I Am Legend, okay. Justice League, come on. Okay. I forget it. Star Wars? Rebel? Man. Look, I'm not going to say that I hated this movie,
Why is it number 3 on your list?
Because I was disgusted watching it. I thought that this movie was ugly as hell. I guess, you know, when it comes, because I don't want to say that I hate it, but I guess I kind of did.
Okay.
Because it's that high on my list. And the whole time, like, there was like, oh, that's kind of a neat thing. Or like, hey, I like that idea. But these characters, man, fuck you that you're even calling them that. Why are people praising Zack Snyder for doing these things like this? I don't get it. This is my number 2 worst movie, which it was the first, but then Ryan Walterson, a member in the community, reminded me, actually, you saw this, and I was like, oh yeah, that definitely is worse. But this right here, this is my number 2 worst movie of 2023. And that's me walking away from this movie going, how the fuck did you fuck this up? This is, of course, the movie 65, which is about, it was pitched in the trailer as The Last of Us with dinosaurs. I love dinosaurs.
Yeah,
I'm sold.
Yeah.
And then what they gave me, they did some of the shit that I really can't stand. And Zack Snyder did it a little bit in Rebel Moon, but they did that thing where an alien child is speaking gobbledygook and you can't understand what they're saying and it makes no sense. And God, this movie just it was boring. That was the worst thing. A movie about dinosaurs in space, I thought was very boring. Did you see this movie?
I saw it on the plane on the way to London, and I just found it to be just so underwhelming and forgettable. They were on Earth the whole time. Like, yeah, okay, yeah, I get it.
No shit. It's called 65 million years ago? Wow, brilliant.
But to me, it was just one. It's one of those movies where you go, why Adam Driver? This could have been anybody. This could have been Sam Worthington. Just some actor that you don't expect anything from. Generic guy could have been in this role.
And to people in the chat who are saying spoiler alert, spoiler for what?
For
man?
what?
What?
For what?
Like, if anything, we just saved you 90 minutes.
There's no way you wouldn't get that.
Yeah, exactly. And the movie is so dull. This is my number 1 worst movie of 2023. Right here. And I'll tell you, I did not like the look of this movie. This is Asylum's Little Mermaid.
Oh.
And this is an animated movie from hell. It is just... to say that they reuse assets in this movie is an understatement.
Well, by saying it's the asylum, that goes without saying.
Yeah, but I saw this. I saw the trailer for it. I was like, man, that could actually, because the asylum movies, their trailers, it's like, it always makes you think, like, that could be so bad it's fun. And like this, I thought it would be, especially with characters making fucking faces like this.
This is better animation than you ever have on anything.
And you want to know what the crazy thing is? This was done by one guy.
Oh, that tracks.
Yeah, right? And this is one of the first movies I'm going to go on record saying I think that there was a lot of AI involvement from the script, the dialogue, the characters, everything about it. I think that Asylum is jumping the gun and getting on this AI train. I hated this. And maybe it's because I got a bone to pick with Asylum, because I've sent in auditions to a lot of their movies, and I never get a response from them. It's like, I'm not good enough for this? How dare you?
You might be too good.
Yeah.
They might look and he's like, this guy's got talent. He's gonna want too much money, but don't even think about him.
Don't listen to him, guys. I'm cheap. I'm still willing to like mend our relationship if you give me a job. But this movie, man, it was so painful to watch. They got this like weird thing with their heads going on, you know, all the mouths are really poorly animated. The lip syncing is just non-existent. Pull a SpongeBob here,
Yeah.
you can see where there's like a there's some water underwater. These whirlwinds. But you can see here, like these shots here where they're in the water. Like, look at that, man. That looks terrible.
Yeah, nobody's hair is floating.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't think of it. Yeah, their hair always looks the same. Oh, I'm so disheveled. I just got out of the water. But man, This is hard to watch. I can't recommend it in any way whatsoever. Shame, shame, shame.
I did not know this existed. But the thing is, Julian, like we used to have a good relationship with the Asylum for the bad movie roast. But there came a point where it's like, wait, now we realize like so many of their movies, they turned a corner where they aren't so bad they're good. They're just so bad that they're dull.
Yeah, they get so boring.
They're so boring. It's like, man, nothing's happening. I mean, we could get with it when you guys got crazy or creative because you had no money.
No,
but
I mean,
there's none of that anymore.
Just look at this. I mean, like that's their lame ass Ursula. I'm mad at this because I know this was going on the shelf at Walmart.
Oh, yeah.
The week that the Little Mermaid came out, and people were like, "Oh, my kid likes this movie. I guess they wanted to see it in movies. We're gonna get it at home now."
Right.
And I don't like that.
Yeah.
I like quality shut up buttons.